Necessity is indeed the mother of invention. Welcome to another episode of Buri's Debrief, stories from a multidimensional woman, finding purpose, building income, leadership, and joy day by day. I have been sharing lots of stories, career stories, leadership stories, but today I want to focus on business stories. Of course, you know this brand by now, Buri's Hair Clues. This brand started some years back. Let me just take you to where I had left Cameroon and moved over to Canada. Stories before I transition to Canada will be coming up on the channel, so please stay tuned. Now, upon leaving Cameroon, it is typical for any woman, girl, whoever leaving Cameroon to have their hair done, right? You always have your typical rasta. Rasta is what we call braids in Cameroon. So I had mine done. It was beautiful, very impeccably done in Cameroon. And it was not really the three-strand braids, but the twists. And it was very long, all the way to my lower back. I enjoyed that hair so much. I rocked it for about, I would say, more than 2 months. You know, you just got into a country, you're trying to get things started, nobody's bothering about hair, and that's the reason we do these braids, because they last long. So once my hair was beginning to look, you know, funny, old, I told my sister, at the time I was living with my sister, I have to get my hair redone. She said, well, it usually costs a lot out here, but go over to the lady down the street. She's a Ghanaian lady, and ask her how much she charges. I walked into that salon, and the lady said, if I am going to get my hair done, providing the braiding hair myself, she charges $160. Wow. Now, this is Cameroonian girl who had just arrived Canada, and this hair had been rocking for over 2 months, only cost me, back then it was about 3,000 CFA francs to get it done. That is less than $5. So, you know, when you leave your home country and come abroad, everything you convert in your head. So I'm converting 160,000 and I can't even believe it. Ask myself, where am I even going to get that kind of money? And if this is how much it costs, then I have to figure out some other thing to do. I have to figure a way out of getting my hair braided. So one day my sister goes to work. Then I had started working, but that day I was off. I stayed home, took down my hair. I washed it. When she came back, I said, oh, you took down your hair already? What are you going to do? Are you ready to go pay the 160? I said, no, I'm not sure yet. She went to work again. Now I can't remember if anyway, she was not home the day I got my hair done. I had bought braiding hair from that Ghanaian lady's salon. I sat there, I think from about 11 a.m. in the morning. I braided my hair. When my sister returned from work at 5:30, I was almost done. That is the day I realized necessity is the mother of invention. I knew I couldn't afford $160. At the same time, I want my hair to look good. And I know that I have this braiding skill, but I had never practiced braiding my own hair. But that day I realized I had the mind's eye. I was able to braid my hair, and I did it so well. Even my sister walking in, she was shocked to see that my hair was all done and I had done it myself. Now that gave me a serious boost. I told myself, if I can get my hair done, there's a lot more I can do when it comes to braiding. So I started doing my hair, you know, that one got old. I did another style, and then I started trying different things. You know, I would braid this side, I would do cornrow on the other side, I would do different styles. I started going online, looking at inspiration, right, to gather inspiration and get my hair done. I started doing my sister's hair as well. Every now and then, we started changing hairstyles almost every 3 weeks. We had new hairstyles. At work, I was getting noticed. I'm like, wow. Who is this black girl who changes her hair so often? Everybody knows how much it costs to get hair done. Friends started asking, colleagues started asking, who gets your hair? And when I told them I did, wow, they were thrilled. Nobody could believe it. Now, how did I get my first client? There was this lady I had met. Then I was at RBC Bank working as a travel insurance agent, and she too was in my department. I remember she used to comment a lot about my hair. She had taken so much interest. One day she came to work. She was heavily pregnant with twins. And she said, I'll be going on maternity leave soon. I don't know what to do with my hair. And then she showed me a picture from the internet that she had downloaded. Said, can you do this style for me? It was what we would call back home piqué laissé. So you just braid the bottom of the root of the hair, and then you let the attachment fly. It's usually curly hair. So it looks like it's your hair, but you just have little braids at the bottom. I love that style myself. So I said, you know what, this is a chance to try this new style. So I told her, yes, I can get it done. Mind you, I've never done that style before. And this is not great advice for anyone who does business. Do not try, you know, a new style, new pattern, whatever, on a paying client. But I took a chance that day. We arranged a schedule. We scheduled for her to come into my home on a Saturday. So she came in, and I realized her hair was a very different texture from mine. This was my first exposure to type 3 hair. I now know it is type 3 hair after having done hair over the years, touching different textures. She was, I think, Caribbean. She had, Caribbean mix. So her hair texture was very different. It was slippery. It was finer. So even doing that hair was a big risk. I realized that as soon as I started doing her hair, now I was shivering. But you know what? I told myself, Buri, you have to pull this off. So I took my time. I braided her hair gently, one after the other. I made the parts really tiny so that they could hold on to this braiding hair that she had brought. And the hair itself was slippery, added to her already fine hair. So it was really challenging. And guess what we had agreed on? She was supposed to pay me $100. Look at me, I'm not willing to pay even $20, but I charged somebody $100. So we went on, we braided her hair. She loved it. I mean, it turned out really, really good. Even I did not believe it. At the end of the day, she was extremely happy. And she did not only pay $100, she paid $120, $20 for tip. This African doesn't know tipo. Now, before long, a second colleague at work stopped me one day at lunch and said, oh, I love your hair. Where did you get it done? I started telling her how I do hair and all of that. Before long, she had booked me for the Saturday coming up. I did her hair. She told her friends. In 3 weeks' time, I was going to do her friend's hair in another city. She came home and drove me to her friend's house to get her hair done. Business started. I started having client after client. At the same time, my sister was my second billboard. So she went to her own workplace and started getting clients for me. Gradually, I was braiding almost every Saturday. Business was booming. Now, the point of me exposing all of this is just to say sometimes you really don't know what you're sitting on. And if there's a spark or an idea in your mind, please act on it. You never know what it can turn into. It was a very lucrative business then. We're bringing more of my stories when it comes to business on this channel, so please stay tuned and watch prior videos where I talk about business, I talk about hosting, I talk about my career path, and I'll continue to build on those stories. Thanks for watching. Bye.